Hey guys, welcome back, or it's your first time here, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing yet another 5 best and 5 worst video. Today we're going to be talking about probably the most requested product categories, which is foundations. I really hope you guys enjoy today's video and find it helpful. Don't forget to let me know what your favorite and least favorite foundation is in the comments. I love hearing what you guys have to say because it's just like a giant thread of like product recommendations and products to avoid, and it's just really fun to go to. So definitely sound off in the comments. Let's have a conversation, and I'm sure other people really enjoy seeing all the recommendations and all the products they should probably not buy. Let's get into the video. Now, there's one thing that I want to say before I start this video, just a little disclaimer, and I just want to say that you may love a product that I hate and you may hate a product that I love. That's totally okay. Different products obviously work for different people, so I just want you guys to keep that in mind. Now, I feel like foundation is probably one of the most like personal makeup items that somebody could buy, just because foundation really has to work for your specific skin type and your specific needs. I didn't want to just talk about foundations that were geared for my specific skin type, which is dry skin. All the products that I did choose are for all skin types. So first, let's talk about the Hourglass Vanish Foundation. Now, this foundation is probably one of my favorite foundations for when I'm going out or when I need to know that my foundation is gonna look amazing in like photos or for an event. This is the foundation that I go to. Now, when I first tried this foundation, I wasn't really sure about it. I did do a first impression video on this, so you could probably see in that video that I was sort of like a little bit unsure about it, just because I thought that maybe it would be a little bit too dry for my skin. But to be honest with you, this is probably one of the best full coverage foundations I've ever used. It actually reminds me a lot of the Makeup Forever HD Stick Foundation. I feel like it blends better on the skin. It gives me more coverage. When I wear this foundation, I look completely poreless. My skin just looks basically like velvet. It's not too matte and it's not too dewy. And I also find that the longer I wear it, especially for my skin type, the better it looks. To be honest, when you first apply this foundation, it could look just slightly heavy since it is a cream formula. It is definitely a heavier formula. However, throughout the day, I find that it does sort of like warm up to the skin and it almost looks a little bit more natural throughout the day. Next, let's talk about the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Now, this is the foundation that I'm actually wearing on my skin right now. Now, the main reason why I just love this foundation is because it's a medium to full coverage, probably leaning a bit more towards the full coverage side, but it looks so weightless and lightweight on the skin. You can barely even feel it, and it just really perfects your skin without making it look heavy or cakey or like you're wearing too much makeup. Even though this does say that it is a luminous foundation, do not be scared by that if you do have oily skin, because it does not make my skin look too dewy. Like I said, I'm wearing it now and I really feel like it just has a very natural finish. It doesn't feel like it's going to slip and slide around my face. For example, I really don't feel like I have to set this with powder when I use it, because it doesn't feel like it's going to slip and slide around. Typically, really dewy or luminous foundations, you sort of feel like you have to actually set it down on your face so that it doesn't move. I know it is definitely more on the pricier side, but I'm here to say that it is worth it. So moving from very full coverage foundations, let's go to something a little bit more lightweight. This is the Makeup Forever Water Blend. Now, the Makeup Forever Water Blend is basically a face and body foundation. If you're not familiar with what face and body foundations are, they are basically water-based foundations that are very, very liquidy and very lightweight. They are also buildable. So you could put on a thin layer to give yourself more of a light coverage, or you could build it up to about a medium coverage if you want to. And because of the formula of face and body foundations, they do not cake up, they do not look heavy. You could layer them and layer them and layer them, and it will look like you're literally wearing absolutely no makeup. Also really great about water-based foundations is that they are transfer proof and waterproof. So if you are going out to the beach, I mean, right now for me it's the middle of fall, but some of you guys maybe going to the beach wherever you live and you want to wear a foundation, wearing something like this is really great since it is totally waterproof and transfer proof. These foundations also work well for every single skin type. When I was working as a freelance makeup artist, the 2 foundations that I had on my kit was the Makeup Forever Face and Body as well as the Makeup Forever HD, and I never ever used the Makeup Forever HD. I used the face and body on basically every single client that I had because it worked on young skin, it worked on more mature skin, it worked on every single skin type, and I was able to build it up without it looking heavy, and that's what everybody really loved. Most people don't like to look like they're wearing a ton of makeup on their face, and this is a really great foundation to sort of avoid that issue. And like I just mentioned, this is also a wonderful foundation for more mature skins because it is so lightweight and almost watery. It does not settle in fine lines, which is wonderful. So this is just such a great all-around product that I would definitely have to highly recommend. Now moving on to another water-based foundation, this is the Kojendo Aqua. Now I've spoken about this foundation for what feels like probably like a year and a half now. I always rave about it whenever I do some sort of like my favorite foundations video. This one is basically always included because it is just so good. Again, this is definitely a pricier product, but I would have to say it is totally worth its price. It is, like I said, a water-based foundation, so it has all the properties that I just described for the Makeup Forever. However, this one does have more coverage than the Makeup Forever. I would say you could definitely build this up to more of a medium to full if you want to, but just like the Makeup Forever water blend, it will never look cakey or heavy on the skin. So that's really all I gotta say about it, considering I just basically described all of its qualities in the last foundation. So that is why this one is definitely at the top of my list. Now this next foundation is from the drugstore, and it is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. Now the reason why I wanted to mention the Milani foundation is because I feel like it is totally comparable to higher end foundations. Now first of all, the packaging of this product is awesome, especially for the drugstore. I really love it. It's a very nice solid packaging. It has a glass bottle and a pump, which is very nice and hygienic, and I just love the coverage that this foundation has. It's about a medium to full, and I really feel like the actual finish that it has and the way that it looks on the skin is totally comparable to higher end foundations. A few months ago, I actually did a comparison video comparing affordable and high-end products on my face, and on one side of my face, I used this foundation, and on the other side, I used the YSL Touche Éclat, and I totally prefer the Milani foundation over the Touche Éclat, so that is saying a lot. I think this is a really great find from the drugstore, and it's definitely one that I would recommend. The only thing I would say is if you do have very dry skin, I would recommend either putting like a really nice hydrating primer or a lot of moisturizer before you apply this, because it is a little bit of a thicker consistency and it could sort of attach to some dry patches if you're not careful. But honestly, if you hydrate properly, you shouldn't have a problem. All right, so that is it for all of my favorite foundations. So now let's move on to what most of you are probably waiting for, and that is all of my least favorite foundations. So let's first talk about this Estee Edit foundation. Now, I just want to say that I really love so many of the other Estee Edit products, but this one just did not work for me. When I first swatched this product in Sephora, I was really excited about it. It's called the Skin Glowing Balm, so I thought it would just make my skin look so nice and dewy, and I noticed that it had a little bit more of a lighter coverage, so I thought it would be perfect for every day. And I went home and I tried it, and I could not get it to work. My main issue with this product is that it has zero coverage. I'm talking less coverage than a tinted moisturizer. Like, I tried to build this up so many times and it just wouldn't. I tried with a sponge, I tried with a brush, I tried with my fingers, and really nothing happened. It did give my skin a nice glow, but it did not cover up any of my redness. It also has a very floral scent to it, which I don't love in foundations because that sort of irritates my skin a little bit. So just overall, this is a big no for me. Now moving on to this foundation over here, and I'm so upset that I have to include this in this category because I had such high hopes for this product. This is the Anastasia Stick Foundation. Now this foundation looked really good from afar, but as soon as you came a little bit up close, it looked a little bit questionable. It broke up like a ton on my skin. Like, you were able to see full patches that just did not have foundation after a few hours. I don't know what happened to it, but it completely disappeared, and that sort of happened all around like my nose and my chin area, and it just looked cakey. It totally stuck to a lot of my dry patches. I don't know, it's just not my favorite, so this is on the worst list, unfortunately. Moving on to a drugstore foundation, this is the Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. Now, when I saw this at the drugstore, I was actually pretty excited about this product because it said that it was a soft matte hydrating foundation. I don't know about you, but that sounds a little bit contradictory to me. I was like, how could a foundation be matte but also hydrating? This is interesting. I want to try this out. So I went home, tried this out, and it was probably the worst a foundation has ever looked on my skin. It was so bad. My skin has never looked cakier. It has never looked heavier. It looked like I was wearing 7 pounds of foundation on my face, even though I wasn't wearing even that much. Matte foundations are not my preference personally, but they could look really beautiful on the skin. But this matte foundation, guys, looked like chalk on my skin. It was like really bad. And that is why I would say to probably stay away from this one. Now this Urban Decay All Nighter foundation, I'm very upset to be mentioning it as one of my least favorite foundations because I had high hopes. I know a lot of people who really like this foundation, but for me personally, I found it very difficult to blend out, like so difficult. I tried it with a brush, I tried it with a sponge, but I just found that no matter what I did, the foundation would just look really patchy because it was just so difficult to actually apply. Now, to be honest with you, after first applying it, if you actually get it to look even on your skin, it does look quite good. It's a nice very full coverage, sort of like a satin, but more leaning towards more of a matte finish. But after a few hours, I do feel like it sort of looks really cakey. It took me like way longer than any foundation to actually apply this on my skin and make it look somewhat even, but even then it was still looked a little bit patchy because it is such a thick formula. I feel like this is something you have to try for yourself, but for me personally, in my personal experience, it just did not work out. So my last foundation that I would have to say is probably one of the worst foundations I've tried is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting foundation and concealer. It looked very similar to the way the Maybelline foundation looked on my skin, but not quite as matte, but it still looks so heavy and so almost like chalky on my skin, and it looked like I was wearing a ton of makeup even when I wasn't. I just could not get this foundation to work, even though I was like really excited about it. I love the applicator of it. It's like this giant doe foot applicator that I thought was really fun. I would love to know if any of you like the foundations that I did not like, because I would love to know what methods you use to apply the foundation, because maybe I'm not doing something that I should be doing, and I would love to actually make these foundations work if I'm able to. So definitely let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions. So guys, that completes my 5 best and 5 worst foundations. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. As always, do not forget to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Let me know what your favorite and your least favorite foundations are. Like I said, I always love to hear what you guys have to say. Give this video a big thumbs up, and of course subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back, or if it's your first time here, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing sort of like a first impression,